Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming today. I never thought that so many people come here to hear me geek about something. So, hello. Yes, I'm Sue. I'm a freelance UX consultant, UX designer, whatever you want to call it. If you want to reach me, there's my email address. It will come up later. So, okay, before we start, I want to show you a short clip. Because there's something going on right now. Maybe some of you have played it. I will switch to YouTube because there's some subtitles. So, let's see if that works. Maybe not. That even funktioniert. Maybe. Okay. It worked before. Ja, aber da waren keine Subtitle. Okay, next try.
Nice to see you guys. I'm gonna play Freebird.
Everyone, a toast to 15 years of World of Warcraft. We met many years ago upon a dusty road. You, a humble priest, and me, a feeble rogue. We were the weakest of the weak, the lowest of the low. But when we fought together, our legend did grow. We battled our way from Blackrock Spire to Molten Core. Took 40 hours for Ragnaros and only wanted more. Our days of being weak are firmly in the past. And now our shields are stronger, our bonds are built to last. For the Alliance, or if you're for the Horde, it's time to toast to 15 years. Everyone raise your sword. No enemy can defeat us. There's no battle we can't win. When we crunch the numbers, stand together and
Leroy Jenkins!
Damn it! Leroy!
Now I have a little news for you. Something of a treat. Are you ready to travel to Lazaroth on your own 2 feet? We're going back to a place where anything can kill ya! So polish your shield, sharpen your axe, we're going back to vanilla!
All right. Yes, we're going back to vanilla. From, I think, August 27th, I think, was the launch. We had vanilla back. So, before we start, there's an error. Great, thank you. Who of you has never played World of Warcraft? Oh my god, really? I never have thought that. Okay, I'm disappointed. Okay, if there are any technical terms, I call them that you don't understand, just raise your hand. So obligatory things. I'm a freelancing UX designer. I worked as well as software as well as game development. So I hope I can give you infos of both worlds. And for the sake of today, Okay. Every UX, every experience is made by its context. So what I want to do first is I want to go back with you to 2004. At 15 years ago, to get you in the right mood, you know? So, what was the world back then? What happened? There was some young guy who started some kind of online platform. Don't know if you heard about it. Yeah, there were some Olympic Games, okay. There was a non-orange racist in the White House. Our own Bundeskanzlerin was called Gerhard back then. And Germany got eliminated in group stage in the Euro 2004. Yeah. Okay, starting to get back. Let's see what was in the cinemas. We had Kill Bill 2. We had Harry Potter and the Prison of Azkaban. That's the third one. Remember, there are 8. They're still kids. We had already one more in Ocean's Team. We had this classic. And Tobey Maguire was still Spider-Man. Yeah, the next one maybe can hurt a bit, so I rush through. We had some really great classics back then. I will not play them, it's going to be stuck in your heads for weeks. But you know what kind of world it was back then. You remember the games that you played? Maybe you played Halo 2? GTA, maybe? We had Half-Life 2. We had Doom 3. WoW Total War. And, of course, that one. Maybe back then, we all had it. We all had this box. It looked exactly like that. Personally, for me, in 2004, I finished school, my Abitur. I moved to my own place. Had nobody to talk to me about gaming all night, so the rest is history. But I will come forward right away. Back then, for the first few years, my main character was Alliance. I know, it took me some time to accept Sylvanas as my Banshee Queen, but yeah, that's what it was. Some numbers for you. In 2017, World of Warcraft crossed the $9.2 billion in revenue. We had a peak of player count at the same time of 12 million. Blizzard is very, very cautious with actual numbers, current numbers, so I guess at the moment there are about 4 million players. And we have, as of today, 7 add-ons, expansion packs. Let's see what the future holds. So, okay, I want to show you some examples of the experience of vanilla. Maybe two of you have played in the last weeks. There's so much to show because it is special. I try to have it not that nostalgic, but yeah, you know. I picked some things in the first hour, what you see when you go in, especially what was different back then. So, it was a long time ago, so I try not to say it's good or bad. It was a long time ago, and it was state-of-the-art back then. Let's start. When you log in, you have to know where your friends are, because changing is expensive. Changing the server. I think it cost €25 back then to go to a different server. So either you start again or you pay $25. You have even choice because you have different player types. You can play player versus player. You can say, okay, I'm a noob, I'm a pussy, I don't want to do PvP. Or you can even go on a roleplay server. I'm not going to talk about that, but it's fun. But then you log in, and this happens, and it happened a lot. If not that, then maybe that. The rule was never play on patch day, because that happens. Especially annoying when you gotta wait, and then you have to wait 650 minutes to log in. Yeah, happened. It was part of the experience. When you got in and you want your first character, back then there were only 8 races. And there were even some classes who were race exclusive, faction exclusive. You get the shamans on the Horde side and paladins on Alliance side. The world map back then, kind of empty when you look at it now. There were things that were annoying. Let me get an example. When I started a few weeks ago, again, I played a Tauren. The default bag you get in the beginning is 16 slots, I think. If you do it disorganized like I did, you have your house down, you have some water, you have some leather and skinning knife, some herbs maybe, and then you have 8 to 9 quest items. So there's no space at all. Talk about balancing. But okay. Everything was tedious back then. In the end, you have to raise every weapon type, every weapon category to a maximum of 300 on level 60. So here, staffs and defense, yeah, you have to hit critters for hours to reach a maximum skill. For some of us, it was learning a new language because all the chats, especially in the cities, in the capitals, yeah, you have to get used to it. But the best thing is, back then, you just could ask without being flamed. And everything was expensive. It was immersive. If you want to play a druid, you have every choice to role-play your druid, talk to your Earth Mother, but then pay a lot of silver and gold for your new skills. I think 50% of the time you're walking somewhere, because everything is far away, so far away, and you get your mount on level 40. Right now you get it on level 20, but back then we had to walk everywhere. Damn it. And you had to grind. Your epic mount, the one that gets you somewhere faster, a few seconds, costed about 1,000 gold, and it took damn time to get those damn 1,000 gold. You had your roots here, burning steps, and kill those dragons over and over and over and over and again. Some smaller things. You had a filter in the chat. Sometimes it got strange things that it filtered. Mobs can be tagged, so if you are an asshole, you can just hit every mob, and the guys who want to quest and have to kill those, they have to wait until you're gone, or not. Yeah, you cast 2 times and then no mana. I don't want to say it's bad balancing. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But it was hard. I think right now you can get from level 1 to 10. That's the first tutorial stage, I will call it, in maybe an hour or two. For vanilla, it took me like 4 days. Yeah, okay, maybe I'm a noob. But it was a community, and every class had its own really powerful buff or specialty. And if you walk somewhere and you have a druid, you cast your buff on everyone that's going your way. You don't talk to them, you just buff them and go. You get a buff, you get a buff, you get a buff. And kind of more to immersion, there were languages. And everything you talked, there was this little Tarahe or Orcish in front of it. It was kind of nice, it was kind of cool. Anyone know who this strange guy is? No? Samwise. That's the guy who invented World of Warcraft. Just some insider, it's okay. Yeah, all in all, it may feel core-ish, it may feel tedious, but in hindsight, that's what gaming was back then. Gaming requirements, time needs, the time you were willing to spend on something, it changed dramatically since then. Just not because we got older. I remember myself when the first changes came, it felt casual. It felt like an insult to those of us who, I see some smirking. It felt like an insult to those of us who spend hours and hours. But in hindsight, you have to admit that Blizzard has a quite good sense what the user needs. Not what the user wants, but what he needs. Yeah. So, I see already some of you got nostalgic. Let me get some more salt in that wound and see what is it that makes vanilla so special. First of all, the people who put in real effort, real much time, got the most out of it. It was a long journey to maximum level. Back then it was level 60. Now we are at 120. As I mentioned, you got to have 1,000 golds for your epic mount. It took an eternity to walk, like I said. It was all a core, it was all taking forever, but it was rewarding. The raids back then, even the dungeons, the normal dungeons, it took hours. You had your raid, 30 people, coordinate 40 people. That was quite a thing. And you have to fight Ragnaros about 12 times, clean molten core 12 times before that one thing dropped. And then there were 7 others in your group, in your raid that wanted it. So you have to go again. But it didn't felt bad, it felt rewarding. Because then you finally got it and it's really the thing. And you know that you are the turn 10% on the server, you have it, and oh my god, yes. Yes, that thing here, that's a mount. It's a really hard quest to get that thing. I never had it, I never made it. But when you had it, you just stood there in the capital on your mount and felt good. Because it felt significant what you did. Kind of the same thing, you didn't have to do the raids. You didn't have the hardcore, high-end raid thing. You could do something else and it still felt meaningful. your time you invested, even, I don't know, an hour or two farming some herbs, it felt meaningful because those herbs were needed from some elixirs who were really sought after by the Wade people. And you felt good. And not just, oh yeah, I got some more gold. So even small tasks have huge benefits for your character. And maybe the biggest thing, the most impact was the community. Back then, you knew the guys who were playing mid. You talked to them per chat, per TeamSpeak back then. And you knew, oh yeah, that guy is a good tank, that guy stole my chest back then, never play with him again. It got lost somewhere on the way. Oh my God, what happened? What happened? What happened? Sorry, I'm sorry. Yes, community, where was I? Maybe it's idealistic or whatever, but there was this different thing that was different about vanilla, the community. And because of that, you really, you connected to your character. That's why some of us have the Horde tattoo, or the other guys. But even community was tedious. So you have to spam the chat to find someone for your group, for your dungeon. And maybe it took an hour to find someone. But if he was good, you talked to him, you added him to your friend list, and you got a new tank for next time. That does not happen anymore, unfortunately. Yeah, and basically, that's what I have to say. I personally played vanilla with mixed feelings. I don't know about you. I think I will continue to play both versions because they're too different. As I did this preparation for this talk, I played them side by side. You couldn't just really compare them because it's, yeah, you may look same, but no, it's not the same game anymore, for good or for bad. So, thank you. Any comments from your side?
Comments, questions, anything that requires a microphone. Just perfect.
So since Warcraft started, there have been like tons of different MMOs, like Secret World, Guild Wars, whatever. When you are working on like optimizing the user experience, are you just trying to concentrate on like, I don't know, like difference between vanilla and add-ons, or are you like trying to find some inspiration in other games, since like Old Republic is maybe more story focused and nicer for some players, or even like Guild Wars is more weapon skill focused things. So are you trying just to concentrate on one game, or trying different MMOs? And if you are trying different other MMOs, how much time are you spending with them?
When I'm working on something that I can compare, my first rule to me and to my team would be, don't look at Blizzard. You can't compare the things that these guys do for your thing that you're trying to build. Because they have, that's another league. Nonetheless, there are things that World of Warcraft does in a good way. There's things that Guild Wars does good, but you have to split it down to its components. There are things in World World of Warcraft you can look onto, but generally you have to be very, very careful to compare or to get your inspiration from. Because everything, as I said in the beginning, in its context. What here may work very good, may be shit in your game. So always look at the context. You can gather your best practices, what do you think are best practices, but don't, just don't. Okay?
Any more questions? Yes.
Hey, from you personally, I mean, you said that Warcraft was really immersive, and I definitely kind of drank away the memory of how many hours I played in that game. But when you have to condense it to maybe one or two aspects, what were the aspects that made it so great from a user experience perspective? Because you mentioned a couple of things that weren't, but on the other hand, they were kind of part of the experience too.
One or two things. That's a hard question. Thank
Three,
you.
if you have to, that's
No.
good too.
It was definitely the community. You had your friends, and you got back online because of those. Maybe just sit around in a capital with a character and chat. That was gaming too. For me, it shifted to this whole open world thing. You can like just switch off the daily stress, the work stuff, and just grind some mobs and it's meditative kind of, and that was for me personally a big part of this experience.
Okay. Second part for that question, kind of, for me, kind of, it was really astonishing how they implemented the reward system.
Yes.
You kill one mob, you get something little. You kill 10, you get a little bit bigger. You kill for 10 hours, you get that. You kill for 100 hours, you get, you know. And at some point, you got 1,000 gold for that freaking awesome, great mount.
Yes.
What do you think about that? And can this still work in nowadays now?
Nowadays, it's not working that well because they implemented some more rewarding systems. They got this achievement system. The things you farmed back then are not that much worth anymore, so it shifted to another part of the game. Back then, as I said, it was meaningful to do these things. Right now, you're trying to get this achievement. It's a different award. But it's still in the same direction of user experience. But yeah, as I said, it shifted.
Thank you.
Yeah, sorry if I didn't get it, but have you been involved in the game, or have you just been so passionate about it to make a presentation?
Actually, I talked to Chris what I should do, and we saw that this 15 years anniversary came out, and just an outside view.
Okay.
I don't know if I want to work at Blizzard, but would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
I don't? Okay.
So it's a very specific question, but just because you mentioned inventories, and that made me think about inventory system in. I haven't played World of Warcraft, but that made me think about the inventory system in The Witcher, where you it is somewhat limited to your carrying weight, but it also you can carry a limited amount of herbs, for example, and it makes in a way insignificant of what kind of these types of item you carry. But so my question is, do you think that limiting in the capacity that player can carry would make it more important of what they actually gather, or do you think it's just an inconvenience upon the player?
It's an inconvenience. but a thing that was deliberate. So in the course of the game, they changed the stack size of herbs or something from 20 to 200. That alone is a sign that they underestimated what players do. That's a thing in every game, in every software. You have to see what the users do and then adapt. This inconvenience of limited space in your inventory, in which I think it slows you down. I don't know. Yes? Too many games, sorry. Here, it doesn't slow you down, it's just full. It's inconvenient because you have to get back to your merchant and sell all the stuff, go back grinding. It's really inconvenient. And so inconvenient, so annoying, that it's not for the player to get more, to do more, but really frustrating. And that's the reason Blizzard changed that.
But do you have like any ideas of how to make it, to reach the silver lining of it being important of what you carry, yet not making it so that it doesn't matter what you're carrying?
I think Blizzard always tries to make it seem significant what you're carrying. There are some small things, some small Easter eggs, some books that are worth not much, but some interesting. But they take a whole slot in your inventory. It's really what kind of gamer you are. Some who do farming for hours, they just leave that stuff behind, leave it, and others want to carry those. So I can't answer a question with this or this because you have both player types, both user types. If you have your game in mind or your software in mind, look at what your gamers are, what they need.
Okay. Thank you.
I think about backspace in World of Warcraft. I think one of the things that I think about when I think about backspace is always this kind of this aspiration to get the bigger bag. And I think you wouldn't have that if backspace wouldn't be so punishing. It wouldn't feel so great to get this next, I don't know, nether silk bag or whatever. Because like it's the same with the mounts. Walking around for 40 levels makes it feel 20%, moving around 20% faster is just amazing.
Yes.
And that's kind of the magic, I guess, of it.
Yes.
Another thing that I remembered when listening to the questions, when playing other MMOs, I kind of realized how much people were trying to make a game like World of Warcraft, and how little actually the people making World of Warcraft were interested in making an MMORPG. They were trying to make something like a cultural sandbox, and in the end, there really kind of is this culture around World of Warcraft, and that's lacking from most of these other games. They feel like a single player with other people, and that's kind of...
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Because they're really forced, maybe?
I don't know.
You're totally right. Any more comments? Oh, one more, and then I think we have to get to the other talk.
Hi, I never played World of Warcraft, and maybe I'm thinking about trying it out. Would you recommend to start with the vanilla version, or better not?
Better not.
Better not, okay.
That's easy. It is tedious. It's not what we are used to right now. If you're playing other games, console, PC, it's not that kind of gaming anymore. So it would not be fun.
Any more questions? Looks good. Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Have a nice evening.